start a new week and look at some of your injured guys, is the plan for Eakin still hopefully Thursday?
Yeah, it's still hopeful, Mike. But we didn't get any information yesterday. So we'll give today our trainers and medical team time this morning. The doctors will be here later today to assess further, and then we're going on a long road trip, so we'll take that information and make decisions tomorrow on the road trip. I didn't get an update on Cody on the weekend. That's what he's dealing with is sensitive day to day for that to clear up, and then he can play. So hopefully he's still on for Thursday.
We've never really asked. Is it upper, lower?
Upper, yeah.
And anything new, or how are things going with Middlestat and Yoshihara at this point?
Yeah, I apologize. I'm going to have to give you an update tomorrow because I didn't get an update, and the reason is they're coming in today to go through the routine with the medical team, and then we get an update. So until that happens, I'm going on 3 days ago.
When you played Boston, against the three of their lines, you guys did really well. Probably carried the play. The Bergeron line was a little bit different. I mean, you got a team again today that has some top-flight talent on it, top-flight players like that. How can you get together for this game, maybe do a little bit of a job against elite offensive players?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Paul, because that's our opportunity possibly against the other lines. I mean, just look at the salary cap. It's going to have one. There's enough money for one extremely top line. It looks like through the league, pretty much the way it is when the salary cap era started. It's tough to hang on to those guys, and by virtue, you have that discrepancy, and it's two parts. It's one, dealing with a line like you mentioned, and then two, being able to score and win the game, win situations against the other three, and that's where I feel our team is, has to progress in both. I mean, we just have to keep getting better in both, but. You nailed it. Those are really objectives of ours as we look through the league, and we look through the league from last year. To obviously defend better and shut down top lines, and create more where we feel there's opportunity, and we've even seen that. I mean, it's jumped out in the first few games, and I don't think that'll stop. We'll still see that, so we got to keep improving in those areas.
How do you approach that then, John? Are you just going to go through a process where you're just going to sort of use any line against them and give them a feel, or are you going to match up lines or just deep pairs, or how do you think you're going to?
Yeah, I've talked. This group in here that covers us knows well. We're a team that we're a lot of guys evolving their game. We don't have many guys that have a really established an NHL career, so we want to get them in as many situations as possible for development reasons, and we are always gauging in game. We don't want to break anybody's confidence either. We don't want them to lose confidence, but everything's going to be an in-game read. I don't want to separate and say that this group of guys can't do this. This group of guys is better on our team. I think we all have to get better. So they'll all share different challenges at different times based on lineup injuries, who's in the flow, and who hits a rhythm better. So it's going to be a complete read and react each and every night.
After 2 losses, I think some people other coaches might have mixed up the lines and changed up the lineup. Why have you chosen, to go forward just with the stability you have, I guess?
Well, the game the other night, we were not down, so we didn't need a goal. And if we were in search of a goal, maybe we would have thought about changing lines. We almost needed to hold things together and more stability defensively the other night. And that you don't want to break up the lines. We needed 4 lines the other day. I felt we looked a little tired, and we were playing a little tired. Some of the decisions we made later in the game were fatigue decisions. They weren't the players' lack of ability. They were just fatigue induced, and so that was why there was no line mixing the other day. There that situation didn't dictate a good time to be tweaking with line mates. And then again, we don't have these guys have played together. There's some familiarity. The one I did switch was Kajula and Bjork, and I thought that's been fine and worked.
Don, Tampa's won 2 straight cups under really adverse conditions. Just how impressive are they, just organizationally, and how much does everyone, especially that are in your division, you have to aspire to be able to compete with them and build an organization like that?
Yeah, no, they're obviously 2 Stanley Cups. They've set the bar, and I think they've made great decisions throughout the organization. Obviously, that starts at the top. I think they're extremely well coached. Love the way they're coached. They play with a lot of confidence as a result, and obviously they've done what they've done. So it's a fun challenge for us, and we welcome it. But yeah, I mean, you look at every organization and what they're doing and emulate some things, but you don't want to lose your own what you have. And so we talked today about 3 different organizations this morning. Obviously we played Boston, New Jersey, and we're playing Tampa tonight. And through our conversations with the players, we touched on each one of those organizations. Not long, but just enough. And we talked about what's our identity, getting to our identity, playing to our identity. So you don't want to just play copycat. We got to look at what's in our locker room, and there's a lot to be proud of there, especially knowing the potential. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. So stay excited about that is what our approach is.
What is it that you love about Coop?
He has a great balance of coaching. He coaches in the moment. The players are always in the moment. He doesn't. I don't think he overcoaches, and I don't think he undercoaches. Like I said, I think there's a really good balance there, and his teams have life and personality, and so there's a lot to like there.
Have you known him a while?
I have, yeah. We both actually coached in the same organization in the USHL in Green Bay, so I've known him for quite a while.
Watching the last couple of games, I've kind of wondered this a lot, especially the first 4 periods, the 3 against Boston and the first period against New Jersey. Are you guys making goalies look good with the winning period? No, seriously.
We did those
nights. I'm not saying that as an insult. I've been wondering that. I mean, you get grade A chances in those 4 periods we're talking about.
Yeah.
Are you making goaltenders look good?
We did, Paul, in those, no question. Because, again, I mentioned after one of the games, pressing. Just holding a little bit tighter, overthinking it a little bit. And, so I think we're just one instant tense after we create the scoring chance. There's not that relaxation. There's relaxation all the way up into the process of that, which we're seeing. And then we get there, and we're that one little bit tense. And I think that's going to, if you bring too much attention to it, it can complicate things, right? Because there's a psychology behind it. So, you just got to, not necessarily ignore it, but you got to approach it with confidence. We're going to get there again. Just bury it and move on and let it go. Again, you miss one of those, the inclination is you tense and you squeeze, and I've seen that. Guys come back to the bench, they're carrying frustration that they just need to let go of, get ready for their next one. Yep, have a good day.